What is happening, everybody? It's Lucas here and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, we have a special guest, Martin Dodd. Martin is a past student of ours and he has been in trenches coaching for the past couple of years. We were absolutely dying to have that chat with him to see how he gets on. So I hope you're super excited. Buckle up, find yourself a comfortable seat and let's get it. Okay, guys, hello everyone. So in today's episode, we have Martin Dodd. Martin is one of our past students, that was kind enough, to jump on this call with ourselves. So hi, Martin.
How's things, Lucas?
What's happening? Honestly, pal, I am absolutely buzzing for this. I've been waiting for this. I had a sleepless night, as well, waiting for the call, but again, really, really, excited, to have a chat with you, So, yeah, I just want to kind of dive in. There's a couple of questions, I wanted to kind of get a bit of better information about how you feel in terms of coaching, where your journey began, where you are at the moment, things like that. So the first one, if I could just ask, is what inspired you as a person to pursue a career in coaching and personal training? If you could just kind of dive into that a little bit, that would be awesome.
Yeah, well, I suppose for myself, the main thing that it was personal reasons as to once I realized how big of a scale I had an impact on myself, not physically in terms of looking a certain way, but more from a mental standpoint. And to be honest, how much that changed the whole direction of my life moving forward.
Yeah.
I wanted to be involved, you could say, and that was the path I chose to go down. And yeah, what inspired me was more coming to the realization of how quickly and how big of an impact fitness in general could have on a person's life, which was just myself at the time. I wasn't really aware of it for anybody else, but I did know the impact it had on me. And once I kind of came to terms with that, as I said, that was something I wanted to get involved in, and that's the basis of what inspired me to become a coach to begin with.
Yeah, and obviously as well. So what you're saying, it was kind of at the very start was obviously personal reasons. It's something that you wanted to do for yourself. There was it sounds like there's a lot of passion in it, because if you don't have a passion, you wouldn't be even consider doing anything like that, So there's definitely a huge element of passion. But correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, helping people as well, isn't it? There's something the element of working with people. I'd say is one of those triggers. Not even triggers, more motivations to keep you going, right? To make people, to help them out, because it's not only obviously everybody wants to get in shape, everybody wants to get that six pack and stuff like that, but the whole fitness itself, from your own experience, it's all about it's a long term, it's the mental approach as well and things like that, that kind of go together, So that's more, amazing.
100%. The physical side of the way I view it is the physical side of things in terms of looking a certain way, as I say, getting in shape, getting a six pack. That's all well and good, but that's the surface level stuff. And as I say, going back to the same thing, my perspective on it and why I got into it to begin with was more just, oh shit, well if this can have as big of an impact as it had on me, I want to do that for other people, because I know how much that changed me as a person mentally and the whole direction of my life. And if I can help other people do the same thing, if that happened to me, there's other people out there that are struggling with the same things I was struggling with and haven't seen the light yet, haven't seen the impact that going on this journey can have. And once I came to that realization, I thought, well, if I can instill that in other people, if I can help other people through the same things and to go on a similar journey, then that's something I'd find joy, you can say.
And again, honestly, I totally understand. Again, I myself as well, obviously used to coach as well, so obviously one of those things as well that for me was the biggest reward is to see somebody getting that message from someone and saying, man, I'm absolutely my life have changed and I never thought I'll be able to get where I am right now. And again, it all comes down to a lot of people don't realize, when it comes into personal training and coaching people, there's a lot more aspect, like what you said, than 100%. just training and diet and stuff like that. There's a obviously
Yeah,
there's a huge connection as well when it comes into coaching. So yeah, I thanks very much, for sharing that with us. It's fantastic. Also, as well, I wanted to ask you on the actual journey itself. So
yeah,
since you completed the course, what has happened since? So from what where you started and what you're currently doing and where you're at. How is that journey kind of laid out for you? Since you've completed the course, if you don't mind, just to share that with
yeah.
with myself
So
as well.
yeah, 100%. So obviously done the course with yourselves
Yeah.
was that was almost like a somewhat of a turning point. Like when I look back and just think of, let's say, the last 2, 3, 4 years,
Mm.
the decision to do that course was probably a turning point for me in a positive sense. And I suppose from there, I didn't really know exactly how things would pan out,
Okay.
but I did
Yeah.
have a very good idea of what I wanted to do and a very clear idea of what I wanted to do. And when I did the course, first went into a gym, was working in the gym quite close to home.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it, I enjoyed it. In all honesty, when I
So you
say I knew
st-
what I
so
wanted
you
to do,
start you started from so you sorry, I'm going to just bring it back to what you just said.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
cool.
started from just you actually, when you completed the course, you didn't start like you were coaching. Obviously, I know you were doing online coaching, but did you actually go to the gym as well? You worked in the gym at the start as well, did you?
I did, yeah, I did. I work
Okay,
in gym quite
brilliant.
close to my house, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the one-to-one aspect of it. I have to say, it
Yeah,
was something that as well previous. Like if I think back to like the years before that,
yeah.
I would have thought it was something to struggle with. I would have thought like I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't enjoy that. But yeah, it was good. It was good. I enjoyed. I enjoyed it. But after that, I had already took on a couple of people online,
Mm-hmm.
and quite simply, to put it simply, that's where I decided to put my focus, and that's where I decided I want to move forward with things
That was your
myself.
niche.
And
The niche was there. You wanted the
yeah,
online coaching. That was the niche you chose. It suits you, your lifestyle, and the way you wanted to go about it. So you had a clear vision, which is
yeah,
amazing. Honestly, like, and again, I actually, it's nice that you've mentioned that as well. That before you actually found your path and the way you wanted to go about it, well, you did try different things. You did went to aspect of one-on-one training people on the gym floor, which you did enjoy. You did
yeah,
enjoy working the gym, as what you've mentioned.
yeah,
But then after that, you were able to have that clear vision of what is it that you want to do and which way you want to go about your skills and your career forward, which is obviously what you're currently doing, which is the online coaching. And that's honestly,
yeah.
man, that's amazing, because it's you kind of like have experience from all the fields, and you've
Mm,
seen the side of one-on-one in face-to-face, and
exactly.
you're now as well doing coaching, which is on a
Yeah.
remote basis, and and
Now,
that's
one thing,
brilliant.
one thing I will say is like, in terms of knowing exactly what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted to do and I knew the path that I wanted to go down at some point coming into the course. So previous to even doing the course, I had my intention set in terms of like, okay, at some point, I didn't know when. It could have been 3 weeks, it could have been 3 years, but I did know that I had my mind set on going down the route of online. But I also knew that it's not going to pan out like that for me. I have to go on the gym floor and
It's going
coach
to take
people
some
in
time.
person. Exactly. Yeah, that was didn't know exactly how long. As I said, it could have been 3 years, 3 weeks, 3 months, it could have been 3 years, but I knew I was gonna have to spend a period of time in the gym floor, coaching people
Hmm.
in person, dealing with people in order to really figure out what I wanted, if that makes sense, and really come
Yeah,
to
it
terms with the
does.
fact of what it is like to coach people, not just to like speak to people, but how
Yeah.
to actually coach people, how to communicate properly in that aspect.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what it was for me. And I have to say, the gym floor stuff, I loved it. I actually liked the gym I was working in as well. And from there, like,
It just from there, when you did, so when you finished in the gym, you actually, obviously you did say it like that. Obviously, you had an idea when you came into the course. What is it that
yeah,
you wanted? You had a goal. Again, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. However, it's like what you've mentioned. You knew the steps that you needed to take
100%.
in
Yeah,
order to get there. So it was a journey,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
when
exactly.
you when you finished up and you went to the coach and the online coaching, like, How did that, like, where did that scale up in terms of like where you're now? If you could share that with us as well, because I think like
Yeah,
I know the story, but I think it's really inspiring. I would love for
yeah,
other people to hear that there's obviously there's a lot of things that you can do when it comes into online coaching, how much flexibility you get as a coach as well to do what you're doing, helping people, but at the same time having a really good quality life.
yeah, 100%. So like once I got into a position, and to be quite honest, at the time I probably wasn't in a full position that made full sense to pursue online fully, but that's the decision I made. That's the decision I made, and that's the decision that I went with. And in terms of the transition, since then, obviously, a lot has happened. It's been quite some time, but I suppose in a way, I'm glad I pursued online when I did
Hmm.
because I learned a lot, and obviously, a lot has changed since
Yeah.
then. Like when I even think back to when I first decided I wanted to go fully online, the journey since then has been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things, well, I wanted to say to you, so if you know the way you went online, and there is
Mm.
something as well that keeps coming our way, and again, I just want your own opinion on that as well. When people say, "Oh yeah, I've gone online," or in terms fitness in general, they say, "Oh my God, it's super oversaturated. I don't think I'll be able to get any clients." Now, when
Yeah.
someone says that to me, I have my own opinion on it, because it's like grocery stores. There's 100 different brands, or clothing. There's 100 different brands, and some of those brands, are going for many many years, and no one's closing down. There is enough for everybody. But from your own
Yeah.
perspective, getting into it, like it's. When someone would say it to you, it's oversaturated, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get any clients. What would you say to that, honestly?
So it's complete bullshit. That's the first thing. And it
That's what I thought.
took me own experience. It took me own experience to kind of find that out because funnily enough, I would have been in that position as well when
Mm,
even first getting them thoughts of like, this is something I want to do. Let's do this course. Let's see where it takes me, that type of thing.
yeah.
That was one of the things that was in my head. It's like, oh, but everybody's doing that. There's too many people doing that. Who's going to come to me?
Yes.
But all that is, it's a mindset issue more than anything, is what
Mm,
I've learned. It's
yeah.
a limiting belief in a way because if you think of it logically, even if it's true, even if it is saturated, which it's
Yeah.
not, saturated markets have opportunity because there's a lot of people that want to fucking do the thing. So
Yes.
it doesn't really make sense why people would say it's saturated, and it comes from the fear of
Yeah.
wondering, oh, will I do well at this or will I not? But you're not going to know if you're going to do well at it until you do the thing that it is. Like,
Until you do that thing. I love the way you said that. You're not
exactly.
gonna
Like, it's
find
like
out until you do the thing.
100%. That's literally it, though, because I remember clear as day, like, I would have had loads of thoughts like that, but like, it was
Mm,
going to come to me.
yeah.
Even if that's true, and even if, as I said, it is saturated, which it's not, but it goes to show that there's demand for it and that
Yeah.
people want to be involved with it. And as well as that, even though I got in, like online coaching is relatively new. I would consider myself to have gotten in relatively late. Like it's only going to keep growing and growing and growing and growing and
Absolutely.
growing.
And again,
It's
it's
not
like
gonna.
the start, sorry for cutting the across there,
No, sorry.
but like I know a lot of coaches as well that started during COVID.
Yeah,
When people had no other option, then obviously when they figured out
yeah,
that the only way they can actually do something and continue on, I don't know, staying healthy, being active, that's when online coaching took off, and the
yeah,
growth was completely different to what it is now. But again,
exactly.
what I'm always saying to everybody, it's like, even if you're the starter now, I know online coaches as well. And again, it's like yourself, you're a great example of the person that's shown that because you came to us was well past the COVID. Everybody,
Yeah,
there was hundreds and thousands of fucking
exactly.
personal trainers, online coaches out there, and you still were able to tap into the market and find your own clientele. Because, like you
100%.
said, It's the mindset, one thing. It's a
Yeah,
belief. That's another thing I believe. It's like if you believe in yourself, you're gonna get it. So you stop self-doubting yourself. And you have to take time, you gotta
yeah,
you gotta just stay consistent, and just keep at it. It's like what happens a lot, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. People think they're gonna post one thing and they're gonna get a
no,
client. It's like social media,
yeah,
like, how are you gonna, you gotta build a trust. You gotta
yeah,
show up, you gotta, people have to get to know you first, before you start doing all these things. But yeah, it's amazing you say that, and I'm really really glad, that you were able to kind of clear that up, because I'd say there's a lot of people out there that will be listening to this. They'll be like, oh yeah, actually, do you know what? I do feel like that, so they can relate.
yeah.
And I know myself as
That's the thing.
well.
And like I feel, I'm sure you do as well, but like I feel strongly about it in some type of way because I know myself where my head was at coming into it and the same kind of fears, the same thoughts, the same issues and limiting beliefs I would have had coming into it.
Yeah.
They don't exist. They don't
No.
exist, and it's not true. It's quite simple. There's no other way to say it other than the fact that number one, it's not oversaturated, and number two, the fact that you might be telling yourself that clearly shows that okay, this market that I might want to tap into, people want to do this.
Yeah.
People want to do this, and more people are continually going to want to do it as the years go on. So it's not something that's
No, it's not
not
gonna
something that's
die. Like it's not
oversaturated.
gonna
Exactly.
disappear
Yeah.
suddenly, and it's just gonna like I don't know. People buy from people, like you said, and people
Exactly.
want to be coached by people, not by machines. I know all this
100%.
AI coming in now, robots and stuff like that. I get all that, but still, people want to be coached by people. End of story. It's the
Yeah.
human interaction. So I don't believe
It's
that's it.
like
It's
us,
like
exactly. It's like us sitting here having this conversation. This can't be replicated by fucking
no,
robots. You know what I mean? Like it's like,
yeah. Yeah, you can fake it, but it ain't gonna be the same. Do you know, I've seen
yeah,
all that stuff, but it ain't gonna be the same. But it's mad, like to think. So again, it is down to mindset, and I'm a true believer as well. So yeah, thanks for saying that as well. Would you ever consider going back to 9 to 5 on the basis of your current situation and what you're doing?
no,
Coaching, what you've grown into. Would you ever consider doing that? Or no?
no, no,
Okay.
no chance. Reason being is because for my situation, anyways, the skills and the traits that you need to develop to get to a certain point,
Yeah.
they're things that translate into anything. So, number one, I have no plans to do anything else but coaching. But
Mm.
I don't see going back to that as an option ever,
Yeah.
really, to be
It's not
honest.
in your head while we're doing what you're doing. It's not like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back. It's like, no, you're fully focused on your current journey, your current path, and coaching is what you want to do, which is, yeah, it's honestly, it's
yeah,
amazing, and
yeah,
really
have to be
appreciate it
like,
because I feel like so your focus is purely on coaching. There is no like you don't think like, oh yeah, what if I fail? You don't get that into your head.
yeah,
It's what
well,
you're.
like you can have times where that does creep up, but
Oh yeah,
even if you're in a position where you're thinking, oh, should I go back? Or will I go back? Should I go back? You're already in some way selling yourself short by doing that because you're not going to give what you're doing now, for example, the coach, you're not going to give that what you need to give it to
mm,
get to where you want to get to.
yeah, yeah. I know it's mad, but yeah, I honestly I like the way you said it. With that it's not an option. It's just because your focus it's on coaching.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
like it's like getting into normal job as well, and it's you could be changing it every month if you wanted to, but if it's something that you really enjoyed and that even going back 9 to 5 again, I have nothing against it, right? And like I've mentioned
Mm,
that to you before, but someone getting into it and being in a 9 to 5, it's like again we need it, and it's I've been in this well for many, many years, but I stayed in places, that I stayed there only for 2 months, but there was places I stayed there for a couple of years. And the reason for that is just
yeah,
because I actually enjoyed it and that's where I wanted to be. So it's
yeah,
the same thing when it comes into doing your own thing, isn't it? Would you agree?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. And at the end of the day, if you have that element of enjoyment to what you're doing, most of the time it's not gonna feel like work. And the reality of the situation is if coaching, particularly online coaching, is something that you want to pursue, going back to whatever you were doing before that, or going back to the 9 to 5, as you said, it's still work. You have to work regardless. So like
Regardless.
there's no there's no world where work isn't involved in your life. So you can
Yes,
either choose to pursue what you're doing and give that 100%, or you can choose to go back to where you want to where you are. But that's
true.
fine. You still have to
Yeah, you
work.
still have to work. Yeah, exactly. It's still work.
You
No one's
just
going to allow
probably,
you to sit there.
yeah, exactly. You just probably won't enjoy it as much as what you're doing.
Yeah, I guess it's just like in life as well, the way I thinking as well, and it's anyway from what I can hear, anyone that it's currently coaching or it's on this their own career path, entrepreneurship, it's they have the mindset is what kind of keeps them going, and they don't really
Yeah.
have you don't really have anything to lose because I feel like the moment where you feel like you feel like you're gonna lose and you're gonna fail, right? And you feel like, oh yeah, that's just the way it's gonna get. That's your mindset, it's gonna just drag you down along the way. So,
100%. And I've
uh,
had to learn that the hard way loads of
yeah,
times as well. It's
mm,
just, it comes down to your perspective on things. Like you can look, like if you're facing certain challenges with it, you can look at it two ways. You can look at it as the reason why you stop giving it 100%, and look at it as the reason why you stop applying yourself to whatever it is, or you can look at it as
yeah,
just the trials and tribulations, the things you're going to have to go through regardless to get from point A to point B. But
totally.
yeah, that's it, man.
Brilliant. Thanks, man. And then also as well, like one of the things, I wanted to ask you, it's would you what would you say to someone that it's actually considering getting into coaching and personal training, but they still haven't done it, but they want to do it,
Yeah.
but they obviously probably have some things, that it's stopping them. But what would you say to someone, that is considering actually getting into it?
What I would say is
What's
if
that
it,
big what's that thing that you feel it's needed, or to get into it? Like, you did say you did it for your own personal reasons, you wanted to do it for yourself
yeah,
because it's what was your happy place. But what would you say to someone else actually considering at least let's say they have to have some sort of element, let's say they have element of passion into fitness,
yeah,
but they still don't know, but they're like, but they want to do it. What would you say to someone like that?
the answer is in the question. If it's something you want to do and you're not doing it, you're doing yourself a disservice by staying where you're at now and by choosing every day to not go after this thing that you know you want to do, but
Yeah,
maybe you're worried about what people might think of you. Maybe you're worried about not having the same security.
yeah.
Maybe you're worried about will it work, will it not?
Mm,
That stuff is up to you. Uh, that stuff is up
yeah,
to you and it's in your control. So what I would say is to somebody who might be thinking of it, but has been held back for whatever reason, there's loads of different reasons why someone might be held back or deter themselves from it. But all I would say is if it's something you want to do and you know you want to do it because you have that voice in your head that's telling you to do it, or you feel inside you that you know this is what you want to do and you want to be involved in it, but you're still not doing it, well, that doesn't really make sense.
yeah, yeah.
Like
No, I know.
there's no reason that could none of the reasons that you're telling yourself right now of why maybe you can't do it and why maybe it's not the right option, none of them overpower the fact that you want to do it and you want to help other people and it's something you want to be involved in. If that is the case and you're choosing to not do it, like
So
it's
let's say so. Yeah, that's honestly, and I agree with you as well, 100% on that as well. But if and again, it's something that I've noticed as well. A lot of people do, not just within a fitness industry, with any industry that they
mm,
want to get into. It's that it goes down to like, oh, will I be able to even qualify? Will I be able
yeah,
for what's in front of me? Am I going to be able to study? I'm dyslexic. I'm this, that, and the other. And I have ADHD. Well, man, I have ADHD as well, and it's not a
yeah,
bad thing, But I
yeah,
feel like that's one of the things, it's just like everybody's trying to, the way, if you're thinking of starting something for so long, you're probably gonna talk yourself out of it if you wanted to
hmm,
have make sure everything is perfect and on time before you do it. And
yeah,
that's what I don't know what you think about that. It's just like if you were always waiting for that perfect moment before you do something, I'm not gonna start because I don't know where before I even take any qualification course or any steer in life which way you want to
yeah,
go, whichever way you want to go about it, But if you were to always wait to have everything in place before you even do it, what do you think? Do you think that person would ever do it? No, wouldn't it?
No, not only would they not do it, but they're
Yeah.
going to miss out on the opportunity to
Yeah.
do it
To find
because
out. Yeah.
exactly because the way I look at it is like there is no worst case scenario. Like you either do it or you don't do it. If you do it, you find out this is great. This is what I want to pursue. You go after it. If you do it and you don't want to do it at some point, whether it's a year down the line, 10 years down the line, you
Yeah.
do something else. This is like
That's right.
you do something else.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. But in terms of that, like that can be applied to anything, obviously. But
Totally.
waiting for the right time, I've done that in many different aspects. Sometimes still
Mm.
do with certain things, but what I've learned is obviously, and everybody knows this, but the right time doesn't exist. And if you're constantly in that cycle of thinking you have to have all your ducks in a row, you have to wait till the moon aligns with the North Star in order for you to start doing something. Until you change that, nothing's going to change, quite simply.
Mm. Yeah. No, no, honestly, I've yeah, thanks for saying that because I feel like it's really important for people to know that people that are in the hot seat like yourself doing it currently practice, we all have our demons and we all have
100%.
our every single day, like every single day it's a battle, but it's down to your mindset and the way you
Absolutely,
approach it
bro.
and not waiting for
Literally.
that fake and perfect moment because we all have a demons, we all could throw the towel and just never do it, but then the amount of regret. And I don't know if you feel like if you hear this,
Yeah.
but I hear this every single time I speak to someone that's getting old. I wish I would have done it sooner. Or
Yeah.
I
And
wish I
ask
would.
yourself, like, is that what you want? Like, is that what you want? Because believe
Yeah.
that that
Yeah.
will be where you end up because at the end of the day, like it's like you don't want to get to that position. That's something I've talked about myself. It's actually something someone else said to me at one point in time when I was struggling with a certain thing. He
Yeah.
asked me the question, he just asked me up front and direct, and he said, how would you feel if in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, not in the next few months, but if in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 15 years' time, you were in the exact same position that you're in now, didn't make any progress, didn't do that thing you wanted to do, didn't move forward in any way, you're exactly where you're at now, except it's 10, 20 years into the future. How would
Yeah.
that feel? And
Mm.
I remember at the time, it scared the shit out of me because it was a scary thought.
Yeah, no, it is. It's when you
Yeah,
think about it this way, I feel, and again, it's like it's not coming down because everybody is different. Everybody has a different goals, and I wanted
yeah,
to do different things in life, which is really important, and I respect everyone's decision, But the feel of regret that always gets to me, and when you speak to people that are certain age,
yeah,
or they're just, they're really old and they're like, I wish I would have done that. Everybody always says, I wish I would have done it sooner, or I wish I would have done it at all, But then, there is nothing that can really stop you. It's just you, and
100%. And like that,
it's like what you said. There's nothing really that can happen. What's the worst case scenario? Like,
yeah,
you
exactly.
just
And that was
you change
even
the path.
coming over here. That was one thing. Like coming over here to where I am now, to in Thailand, I was thinking that the whole time. Like when it was booked,
Mm,
before I booked it, while it
yeah,
was booked, I
yeah,
had fears coming over here, like wondering,
of course.
is it going to work out? Is it going to be, how am I going to manage this? How am I going to manage that? And that's something my dad said to me. And there you go. Somebody who's over 50 years old is saying, I want you to fucking go. Because if you don't go now, when will you go? And if you don't go
Yes.
now, you'll regret it because you never got the opportunity to do that thing. I'm probably coming from a perspective, from his
Yeah.
point of view as well. Maybe him wishing he didn't done more things when he was my age. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's
Yeah.
not an ideal position to be in. It's not where you want to, not where you want your head to be at that time.
Yeah. No, and I know again, and I just something as well. I want to bring it up to anyone that's listening and
Yeah.
watching this right now. That so you say you're currently in Thailand. So your life kind of,
Mm.
so you basically relocate fully from Ireland to Thailand, and again, it's what you said. It was a scary move. It felt
Yeah.
obviously like you're probably just
100%.
about to poop your pants because I can
Yeah.
relate to movements myself as well when it comes to the
Yeah.
change
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
countries. I know what it's like, so I can only imagine. And again, it's the unknown. You don't know. No one knows. No one knows until you
Yeah.
try.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when you're there, when you're in that predicament, where you're in that situation, when you start something, when you do it, when you move, when you make a move, you'll make it work.
You have to, because
Yeah.
when you're put in a position where, as I'm sure you know, like you have to make it work because there's no other option. And if
Have-
you see the other option, you've already lost the first option.
Exactly, because you're already thinking about the way out.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. And really, no, thanks very much, for touching on that as well. There's one more thing, is the
Yeah.
one last
Yeah, of
question I
course.
wanted to ask you before we wrap up. It's if you were to go back, what would you say to your younger self with the current experience that you have? What would it be? What would you do differently? With your current experience that you have now, if you bring yourself back to starting
Yeah.
coaching, is there something that you would have done slightly different to what you know now? So to
Yeah.
kind of get yourself ahead, what would you say to someone to kind of give them that little bit of advice, to the new coaches that are coming
Mm.
onto the block, they're only starting it, they really don't know what to do about it, they just got qualified, but you have the couple of years of experience, you've been out in trenches all the time, grinding, which is what it is,
Yeah.
that people don't see the hard work. What would you do differently at the start?
I would do I would do more and think less, in a
Mm-hmm.
way of, one thing that held me back at the start was, plain and simple, just fears around what other people might think, particularly when it comes to social media,
Mm-hmm.
and do
I'd say
more
that was a
and
big
think
one
less.
now, there with the social
Massive
media,
one.
because you had to get yourself
Massive
in
one.
front of the camera, and I'd say that is
Exactly.
for a lot of people that
Here's a
is
better way.
scary.
Here's a better way of putting it, and this is a better way. This is the way I put it to myself. If it was to go back, do more and start earlier. The earlier you start and the more you do, the better you're going to get at doing the thing you need to do. For example, let's say it's putting yourself out there, getting in front of the camera for the first time. I still struggle with this, funnily enough. Not in the same way I did at the start, but I remember getting in front of the camera for the first time, spending 6 hours trying to make a 30-second clip. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way it
Yeah,
goes. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, start earlier and do
yeah.
more, because at the end of the day, it's hard. It's hard to put
Mm.
yourself out there, especially these days in this day and age when
So many
everybody,
sharks out there.
yeah, that's it. That's it. And it's just normal at the end of the day. Like, nobody, as far as I'm aware, especially putting yourself out there on social media, nobody is in a position where they can do that and not have any fear or complete comfort with doing it, because you're putting yourself out there to the world and it's you, and you're leaving yourself open to things like people judging you. That's the reality. People might fucking judge you, but
Yeah.
you'll judge yourself more when you don't do it. That's literally
They
it.
honestly, yeah, and that's brilliant, man. But yeah, what you say, you just hit the nail in the head there. It is exactly
Yeah,
like that.
has
So
to be. Start earlier and do more, because the earlier you start, the better you're gonna get at what it is you're trying to do. And the more times you do it, again, the better you're gonna get quickly. So
yeah.
the only solution is just to, if you start getting them voices in your head where it's like, oh, maybe I'll do that next week, maybe I'll do that next month, maybe I'll do that in a few months. You have to act on that
Mm.
quickly, because that will not end. That will just keep looping back to the
Yeah,
same
I
thing.
know.
So,
And you
yeah,
gotta start it. On some stage you gotta do it, And then and
exactly.
the funny thing
Yeah.
about it is like what you said, like everybody knows what needs to be done, but the fear of getting started. The sooner you start, the more awkward you're gonna get at the start, the
Mm,
easier it is. It's like with everything. It's like with even people starting, I don't know, even jumping on the podcast, and doing an interview with someone, it's the same thing, You're just gonna get better and better at it every single time you do it. So yeah,
100%.
man, I really appreciate you jumping on that call with myself, and again, it's really really inspiring, to hear your story and what you have achieved. And I know this is only beginning for you. You're just going to keep on going
Yeah.
and keep on growing. And I'm myself and the rest of the team are super excited to keep on watching you. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, thank you so much, Martin. And
No
really,
worries, man.
really, really looking forward to catching up with you soon.
Yeah, and thanks to you as well, Lucas.
No problem, man. Anytime, right? You take care of yourself.
See you later.